J-Dog, are we idiots? Are we idiots? And I mean,
yes.
Well, okay, all right, we're idiots.
Yeah.
But do you think our viewers, our listeners, the general football public out there are idiots?
Absolutely, they are.
Okay, because I think that the AFL are treating us like absolute idiots at the moment, and I have to get something off my chest. I know this is not an umpiring thing; it's just the way that things have happened over the last couple of weeks that have just got me infuriated with the way that I just see football right now. There's been little spot fires going out through the entire season, suspensions. We know about the tackling. We know all about those bits and pieces, but we know it all sort of really ramped its way up after the Essendon Geelong game when there was those deliberate rush behinds. There was ones for insufficient intent, non-dropping the balls, etc. That week, Andrew Dillion came out and said that the game or the umpiring is as good as it's ever been. And at that stage, there was a collective spray of food and beverages out of football followers' mouths around the state, around the country, because that is an absolute crock of shit. It isn't in the best position it's been in. And when you have a look at some of the things that we've seen, some of the challenges that we've had with umpiring this year, it's far from it. 4 umpires, it's just not working, etc. But you know what? They said it's in the best position ever. We sort of went, no, don't agree. All right, we'll move on. Less than 2 weeks later, and Mr. Jamie Wallis, Toby Bedford and Charlie Cameron get suspended for tackles. 2 different types of tackles. One was classified by a lot of people who watch this show, listen, and in the football public, and Toby Bedford as almost the perfect tackle. Charlie Cameron went backwards, bit of a different one, but the Toby Bedford one was almost damned to be a perfect tackle. Free kick was paid, dropping the ball. Could not ask for anything more than that.
No report on the night.
No report on the night, nothing. Goes to the MRO. MRO go because he came out with a concussion. My friend, you are going to the tribunal. We know what happened. He got 3 weeks. They appealed it. Both of them got off. Both got to play in victories over the weekend. But on Friday night, Jamie, I put on the radio or the wireless for the elder statesmen out there and elder stateswomen. Put the wireless on to listen to Laura Kane and her explanations about the game of football. And there was a lot of contention brought up about the tackling side of things. Is the fabric of the game dead? Is the way that this is the future going to be turning into Gaelic football? You know, where is this all going? Is litigation causing it all, etc.? And she says that yes, the paramount of our game right now for us is the health and safety of the players. And based on them getting a concussion, that was the reason. And they go, but is the tackle dead? And she came out with this statistic that there's been 18,508 tackles, yet only 7 of them have resulted in a suspension. And there was an extra 2 that got thrown out, which was the Bedford and the Cameron one. Mm-hmm. But these are the only tackles, when I talk about the 7, that had a concussion in them. And so to come out and say that 99% of the tackles that we've had so far this year are safe is the biggest furphy, biggest red herring, biggest crock of shit. Jamie, the only reason why there hasn't been more is because the player did not come out concussed. We see hundreds of tackles a game, hundreds of tackles a weekend, where that same action is delivered, but because one person's head hits the ground and another one doesn't hit the ground, is the difference between 0, nothing, and a person getting 3 weeks off. But it gets even worse for them to come out and say that, you know what, it's in a good spot. Health and safety is paramount. That's what we're concerned about. Well, then can you answer this one for me then? If the health and safety of the players is exactly what we're looking at, how do they then go ahead and say, well, Christian Petrarca's not playing for the rest of the year because a player jumped in with his knee, ruptured his spleen, broke some ribs, is not playing for the rest of the season? Should that have been investigated? Because, you know, it's all about the health and safety of the players. But you can also have a legitimate tackle getting 3 weeks, yet you could be a Gold Coast Suns player, run past an opponent, throw an elbow into the side of someone's head and get a week. Or you can gut punch or rabbit punch someone in the vicinity of a ball up and get nothing, a fine, Or, taking it even worse, you could be Eric Hipwood and tunnel Nick Blakey where he could potentially fall on his neck and cause a lot of damage and not even get cited. Where are we going where we're hearing one thing, we're seeing something else, the result is completely insufficient, we're all scratching our heads, yet the leaders who are supposed to have their finger on the pulse are completely blindsided or ignorant to what's going on, and then coming out, instead of saying that, yes, we've got it wrong, or yes, it needs to be fixed, it's just, there's nothing to see here. There's nothing to see here. I think the AFL really need to stop treating us, the football public, the people that put our money over every single week, as idiots. It has to stop, because I'll tell you what, there's two people at the moment who are looking like idiots. Usually it's us two, but Laura Kane and Andrew Dillion, you are looking like idiots at the moment in the eyes of the general football public.
I like it. It is compelling when you say it like that, in terms of the tackles, the statistics, the incidents that you've called out. And I think I heard Dwayne Russell last week say something that I thought, why don't we go back to this? Which is essentially having people who watch the game, have played the game, have a feel for the game. If it doesn't feel like a reportable incident, then why, don't present it. Don't present it. If it doesn't feel like a football, it doesn't feel like something, then it shouldn't be. If it feels like it, then run it through your matrix. But don't go slapping blokes with 3 weeks for this and 4 weeks for that because they got a concussion, because they got this.
Yep.
Don't put the fine up just because it may look bad without actually having it pass a sniff test, like you said.
Well, Jamie, you can be, and I've forgotten their name, so I should have had this prepared, but now that you brought it up, you can get fined for the third or fourth time this season and still complain. So
Zach Butters is one of them.
Zach Butters, there you go. So Zach Butters, who
$36,000 in fines
this year.
I don't know if it's this year or career, but $36,000. That's a price of a car.
That's loose change for him. That's under his couch. But the thing is that he can continually do it, gets let off, and these guys who are doing the right thing, they're getting weeks. And it's just not right. And then when Laura Kane comes out and says, that's what the matrix works out. Well, that's the problem with the matrix, is that you've got to fit it into boxes. And the way the boxes are is that if it fits into, tackle, head concussion, it has to go to the tribunal, which is a minimum of 3 weeks. It's 3 weeks or nothing. There is no 1 week. If people are being told, well, look, we're going to give them a week, it might have passed. But a lot of people go, no, that can't be.
It goes back to what your thing said, Peps. It goes back to what you said is, watch these clips at speed and tell me if you think that they're reportable. That's the first banding. That's the first banding to work it out.
You should not be able to do it. Yeah, it should not be able to watch the matter of speed. If you watch it and you go, okay, that's a report. That looks like a reportable offence. I'm going to put that now through the matrix, which is your high intentional, whatever the outcome. But if you're watching it at full speed and if it doesn't feel like it is a reportable offence, then that's it. It gets left on game day and we don't touch it. Yep. And this is not an easy solution, because they tried to do it in such a way, because we had the tribunal, someone would watch it, that's 3 weeks, that's 2 weeks. The reason why they brought the matrix in was because to get some consistency, make it easy.
I don't mind a matrix.
Okay. But there's no flexibility in the matrix. It doesn't work like that. Like, a concussion is a concussion. There has to be a little bit of leeway into this, because they're grading the wrong things and people are getting done for the wrong things. Is it the action or the result? It is all about the action. The result is nothing at the moment. It's all about the result. Action doesn't matter. Like I said, you can throw an elbow at someone. You can rabbit punch someone. You could be Isaac Heaney. He throws an arm back to try and swipe someone away and gets a week for that. But you can a deliberate rabbit punch into someone's guts and you don't get anything. It's not right. It's ruining the game. Unfortunately, it's all about the legal side of things, because if something happens 5-10 years down the track, the AFL have to be seen to be putting in some sort of reasonable measures to stop it. And that's what's
to stop concussionable incidents, which is plainly put, it is absurd that you're trying to do that on a game which is built around physical contact.
Yeah.
How do you stop that?
And how can you not have incidents with things like that as well too? It's mind numbing how those sort of things can happen just on a regular basis, J-Dog, on a regular basis. But that's what football's all about. Hey, I'd love to hear what everybody else thinks. Like, subscribe, ring the bell.